Hey, it's Lori Ballen here in Las Vegas, and anybody who knows me knows that I couldn't tell a lie to save my life, and I'm authentic to a fault sometimes. So I always like to share what's going on, but I have not been super transparent about the changes in my real estate business and exactly what that looks like. So I thought, you know what? Today's the day because I'm proud of my real estate business and the changes that I've made. And I absolutely love how I make money in it. So I want to explain some things for those of you that don't know me, and you're going to be listening to this video to find out how a real estate agent makes money, how a rainmaker of a team owner makes money, how an agent on a team makes money. Maybe you're looking at this because you're trying to figure out on average how a real estate agent makes money and what kind of salary they earn and whatnot. You may not know about my history, so you might have done a search and found this. So I'll just share this with you really quick. I got into real estate in 2007, kicking and screaming all the way. I did not want to get into real estate. This was something that my now ex-husband wanted and was very persistent, and I eventually followed him in. Now, once I got in, I got really into it. I wanted to be the best. I wanted to make a lot of money doing it because that was our only revenue stream, and there were two of us. We didn't have any other income coming into the house. This was our income. So I took it incredibly seriously. Right out of the gate, we became top agents in the company, recognized for every kind of award, and we were doing some decent real estate. Now, this was in 2007. For those of you that didn't live that, weren't in real estate then, or weren't adults then, this is when the market went, right? That was when it all went down. Now, being in Las Vegas, we were in one of the top distressed markets in the U.S. And so what that meant is by 2010, we were living in short sales and foreclosures. So even though we were doing a big business, we started making a lot less money and it was a lot harder to get paid. We would take a listing and which is a home for sale. We would take a listing and we would have it on the market for 2 years because of how this short sale process worked. If we were doing REOs, foreclosures, we were getting paid a 1% commission. I mean, it was just so hard. And I almost got out because I just hated it so much. I just hated that my whole life was listening to people losing everything and the destruction and the divorces and the families just had no money. It was just terrible. It was terrible. And then, of course, we're dealing with banks, which was a nightmare. And I don't have any mortgage and finance background to speak of where it comes to negotiating with banks for mortgages. And so that was a tough challenge for me then. Anyway, but what we found was that in a down market, really good marketers and people who know how to position themselves actually can do better and rise to the top. And so what I did is I started ranking for all things short sales on the search engine. So I wrote the first short sale handbook. And if you Googled anything for Las Vegas short sales, you found me and my team. And so we were doing a lot. We closed hundreds of short sales. But our profits were very, very small because even though we were doing, I don't know what it was at the time, $400,000 in commission that year, we've got team splits. Here's what was really tough. That number is really small because we were selling $30,000 condos in Vegas. Our average price range was $100,000. So do the math on that. If we got a 3% commission on our side on a $100,000 house, what can you do with that kind of, with $3,000 in commissions? You're splitting it with a team that's helping and your admins or whatever. So it was tough. It was really tough. We didn't keep a lot of money at the end of the day. So we got through that. And then when the market started rebounding, then we got into traditional sales and we had to relearn that whole market. I moved over to Keller Williams in 2010, built a big team and got more into the traditional sales. Okay. Now let me break this down for you. Let me start with how a real estate agent gets paid. Okay, so let's just say you're looking at this for the first time. A real estate agent goes out and takes a listing, and they get paid a certain amount of compensation that they agree upon between the two parties. Okay, so let's just say, although commission is never standard, never typical, always negotiable, it's not allowed to be standard. But your office can have their own ideas of how much to charge. Let's just say you're going to take a listing and you're going to charge 3% of the sales price when it closes. Okay. So I've got a calculator here because I should never do math live, right? So let's just say you've got a $300,000 house. Let's say $350,000 house, okay? $350,000 house. And you're going to charge a 3% commission. So as a listing agent, you would collect $10,500. Okay, that's just for easy math. Now, you're going to have brokerage fees, franchise fees, that type of thing. So maybe at the end of the day, you keep 8 of that, let's just say, depending on how your splits work out. So you're making an $8,000 commission for selling that house. Maybe you've got an agreement that says, well, if I also find you the buyer, I'm going to get $10,000, $11,000, $12,000. Okay. So out of that money, you're going to pay all of your your licensing and your insurance and your auto and your phone and your whatever copies or office occupancy you have. You're going to have all of that. And at the end of the day, you're going to keep a certain amount of profit. Okay. So let's say you're running your business pretty lean and you're keeping 70% of your take home. So we're taking let's say we're taking 8,000 after our broker fees and whatnot, 8,000. Okay. 8,000 and you're 70% profitable times 0.7. So 5,600 of that's in your pocket. Then you got to pay taxes. Okay. So 5,600. So you do that 25 times. So times 25. So you're making $140,000 that year. You pay the IRS 30 of that, whatever. You're keeping 100, 110. That's a pretty typical real estate business as an independent agent. Now I did math in 350,000. Obviously, depending on where you are, your price range could be much higher or even lower, but I'm using a national average just to kind of come up with that. Okay. And I'm assuming a 70% profitability, which is really generous because most people aren't 70% profitable. Most agents don't even know how profitable they are. They just don't have any clue. They know how much commissions they took in for the year because it's reported somewhere. It's on their W-9 that the office gives them. They have to turn into their taxes. So they say, oh, I made 300,000 this year. I made 500,000. I made 200,000. They just throw that number out, but that they don't really know how much they kept, most real estate agents, because real estate agents get into real estate, to make money, but they don't necessarily have business background. Some of us do, some don't. And so they don't really understand all that. That's how a lot of real estate agents get in trouble with taxes too, because taxes are not deducted out of your check. So you've got to pay your own taxes. And most real estate agents don't realize that they need to stop when they get that check and immediately send it to the IRS. I'll give you a little tip. There's an app. So you can download the app, go to irs.gov and download the app, or do a search in the App Store and download the IRS app. And what you can do is you can actually get a check. I just picked up $5,000 worth of checks yesterday, or whatever. It's a few thousand worth of checks yesterday. I'm adding some bigger numbers. And out of that, I can stop and say, okay, my tax bracket's probably going to be 30% at the end of the year. So I could take, let's just say I got 3,000 times 0.30. Okay. So out of that profit, 900 needs to go to the IRS. And I can actually just deposit the check, go to my app, and then immediately punch in that number and send it to the IRS. And I'm good. Agents just don't think to do that because there's nobody really guiding them on that. So then they think, oh, I'll just pay quarterly, but then the quarter comes, they don't do it. And then the end of the year comes and all of a sudden they don't have $20,000 tucked away to pay the IRS, or 30,000 or 40, whatever it happens to be. And then 1 year rolls into the next and the next and the next. That's how you get in trouble. I was one of those. I'm still paying the IRS because of bad planning when we got into real estate. I could blame it on the crash and life situations in 2007 and short sales and not keeping a lot of money. But the blame ultimately is on me because I didn't do what I needed to do. And that's why I'm here telling you, pay your taxes so that you don't wind up later on getting caught with that. Okay, so the model of the rainmaker of a team now is something like, I have a team. So all of the money we take in somehow now is distributed amongst the members of the team. I, Lori Ballen, team owner of Lori Ballen Team in Las Vegas, have 2 agents on my team currently, David and Krista. I have no admin because of the type of model I have. But back then, I had 15 team members and I had multiple admin, which is one of the reasons why we didn't keep very much at the end of the day. I was very leveraged, a lot of leverage, okay? But a small team is going to be an admin and a buyer's agent, or an admin and a showing agent, right? That's kind of like how a team gets rolling. So let's just say you look like that. So you've got a small team, you take all the listings, but you have a buyer's agent and you have an admin. Well, typically that admin is going to make salary, right? 40,000, 50,000 or whatever. Or maybe you're paying an admin on a transactional basis. I'll give you $250 out of each transaction, or $350 to do my paperwork. That's still an admin. That still needs to be calculated as to what that looks like, okay? Now, your buyer's agent is going to be paid on a commission split, typically. There are very few teams that have agents on salary, but it does exist. I've actually done it myself. I've had agents on salary myself. I didn't like the model personally. and not in that kind of, I didn't want to be their boss and taxes and matching taxes and all kinds of stuff like that, liability. I wanted them to be a little bit more independent. So a buyer's agent is going to be like a 50-50 split. So I'm going to generate all the business. Maybe you have lead generation responsibilities as well, open houses, sphere of influence, calling your database. But we're going to split everything 50-50 no matter where the lead comes in from. And you're going to work with that buyer, and my admin's going to do all your paperwork. That's just kind of how the typical model works. So let's take that. Let's just say we have a $12,000 commission. That's what we're making on the transaction, right? So we're going to split it. You're going to get $6,000 and I'm going to get $6,000. You work with the client. You do all the work with the client, but I'm going to pay you for the admin, right? Maybe I'm paying for office space. Maybe I'm coaching you, I'm guiding you, we're doing accountability. That's just kind of that's how my model works. That's a typical model. Now, some people pay less. Some will pay, okay, we have an inside sales agent, so we're going to pay the buyer's agents 35% or 40%. Or maybe we're only going to change that split if the ISA converts the lead. So it just depends on who the team is, how the team works. So I'm just kind of giving you some ranges. Typically, if the rainmaker's paying the buyer's agent more than 50%, they're losing money. And I got into that trouble too. I brought in, I'm out recruiting like the best of the best. I want to bring in the best agent. So I bring somebody in at 65%, and then I realized I'm losing money on that person at the end of the day. So there's a lot to say about having a listing-based business that is more profitable, and then having a buyer pool, but you're making a higher percentage on your listings. And so then it kind of levels out, right? But if you're running a big buyer business, you don't have as many listings, and you're paying out 50%, you're probably going to lose money. So this is the kind of stuff that isn't talked about enough, is the profitability on teams and the models and how that works. So I built up this big team. We're getting all the awards, we're being interviewed on all the panels, and I did have a good business. I mean, I was really focused on my team, building my team, coaching them, doing all those things. I flew around the country, taking all kinds of training, leadership training, business training, everything you can imagine. And the challenge that I had is, at the end of the day, I just wasn't keeping very much money, because I was spending so much money on software and learning and growth and lead gen. And I was paying for my team to have coaches, and I was paying for my teams to go to trainings and conventions and whatnot. And I loved it. I loved that part of it. I didn't really like going to work every day in the office and recruiting all day long. And, that just wasn't my favorite thing to do. My favorite thing to do is lead gen on the computer. I'm a computer girl. I love marketing. Marketing is my favorite thing on the planet, next to teaching. And I love to be spending my time blogging and creating the leads. So I had gotten to this point where I was kind of like, okay, I'm not making a ton of money doing this. We had a decent lifestyle. There's two of us living on the one income, it wasn't bad, but I knew that if I really wanted the things I wanted in life, I needed to add a secondary income. And so I got obsessed with building my real estate team to the 7th level, we call that at Keller Williams, so that I wasn't taking listings and I wasn't working with buyers. And then I moved my then husband out, and so that he wasn't working with buyers. I had other thoughts of what he would do besides be retired, which is kind of what happened. But I wanted to move us out so that we had the freedom to generate other income streams and do other things. And so I did that. And by doing that, you really do bring your profit level much lower. So I was operating at about a 23% profit margin once I got to, I moved everybody out. And so I moved over to start working on some other income streams. The good news about doing that is that I started teaching, and then I started coaching, and I started charging for teaching and coaching, which I wasn't doing at first. I was doing that just because I love to do it. But then I realized, it is my time, my energy, my intellectual property. Of course, I should charge for that. And so I turned that into another revenue stream. And that revenue stream actually became higher than my real estate business. While I was doing that, I didn't realize I was building a third business, which is affiliate income. So what would happen is I would generate all the leads for my real estate team. Then I would teach how I generated all those leads on the real estate team. So I got income from the sales from the real estate business, and then I got income from the teaching of how I generated the leads. So there's those two income streams. And then I would teach the software that I'm using, which I still do to this day. Whatever it is I use, I teach. I want people to know how to use the software to generate leads. And there's something out there called affiliate income, which basically, if you sign up for the software that I teach you about, Opt-in Monster, Constant Contact, TubeBuddy, Wealthy Affiliate, IDX Broker, I've got a library of things that I use every day in my marketing stack. If I tell you about it and you click the link and sign up for it, I receive a commission. So I set that up without any major deal. Just, oh, okay. So somebody contacted me and said, hey, Lori, we have an affiliate program. And I'm like, what's that? And they said, well, since you're sending everybody to us, we'll give you 20% of the signups for the lifetime every month, as long as that person's a subscriber. And I'm like, what? That's insane. So here I am, this big lead generator and this teacher. You mean if I just lead generate and teach, then I'm going to get income for that? And they're like, yeah. So, okay. So I started doing that with this one company, and then a second company and a third company. And then I realized, like, most companies have an affiliate program that are not all, but many. I shouldn't say most, many. And so I started just kind of making that a purposeful part of my strategy. Then I realized, okay, now I'm generating leads for my real estate company and I'm making money. And and I'm going to get into my real estate model today, by the way. And I'm teaching and I'm coaching and making money from that. And I built a course. So I've got sales, and I travel and teach and I get paid to do that. So this whole little bubble has a bunch of income streams in itself, right? Course, coaching, sales from webinars, traveling and training. I've got all those little things in that one bubble. So those could be individual and together. So I've got those. And then over here, I've got this affiliate income stream growing. And at first it was $1 and $2 and $10 and $200. And before I knew it, it was $10,000 a month. Imagine that. Then I opened a digital marketing company. So I said, I'm doing all of this. I might as well now fill this other gap over here, which is, let us do it for you. Let us build your website. Let us create your blogs. Let us do whatever. So that's Ballen Brands. Okay. So I've got all of these things going. Now I've also got some other income streams like stocks and investments, profit share from recruiting, got a little shampoo thing on the side. So before I knew it, I had 7 streams of income. Okay. Now, Ballen Brands is actually now owned by my brothers, because I realized at a certain point that I don't want to be in an office building that marketing company. I want to do all these other things. And so they're really passionate about the fulfillment and doing all this still for real estate agents. And there's more on that coming. But so I still have an interest in it, of course. But they're the ones that are technically the owners and operate it. So I kind of look at that as another, like an affiliate business kind of on the side. So I got all this stuff going on. Okay. And I thank God I did this, because suddenly I wind up divorced after 25 years. And now I'm the sole support of my daughter. My ex has never been part of that, of her financial support. So sole support, I got, everything that she needs, and cars and get ready for college and, just all of that kind of stuff. And I've got, I had kind of wound down my real estate team, because I'm building all of this other stuff. I 7th leveled it. It's not my favorite thing to do every single day, but I do love the lead gen part. So I still want it, but I just didn't want to be in it every single day. So I'm glad that I built this coaching and training. And then over here, I built this 6-figure affiliate marketing income. And then I've got this marketing company that generates an income. So it gave me a lot of room to play with my real estate model. What do I want it to look like? Where do I want it to go? What do I want my involvement to be? So I sat down and really kind of had to think about it. And I said, for me, I just want to lead gen. I just want to do the marketing. So I don't want to work with clients, which I haven't for 10 years. I don't want to, let's see, I got it 2010. Yeah, 9 years. 9 years. I haven't worked with a client in 9 years. I want it to generate income, but it doesn't even have to be 6 figures. That's kind of the way I looked at it was, I want it to be present in my life. I want it to have value. And I want it to be my test kitchen so that I can keep teaching it. And I want it to be a positive cash flow. But I didn't need it to be $1 million. I didn't even need it to be 6 figures. If that was going to require me to do more than I necessarily wanted to do. Okay. So what I did is I completely changed the model, made up my own. And I said, okay, what am I doing here? My leads come from the internet. So that's listings, buyers, and referrals. I do a big referral business. So other real estate agents hear about Lori Ballen in Las Vegas, who also serves Henderson and North Las Vegas. And that's a great place. A lot of people move to and from Vegas, but a lot of people move to Vegas. And so it's a great place to run a big referral business. And so I started getting really known with other agents by teaching, of course, and giving away everything I have. I never, I sell coaching and training courses, but I give it all away for free. If, on my blogs, on videos, on free webinars, on free trainings in person. So I always give more than I ever charge for. And they send me referrals. They're grateful and they remember me in Vegas. Okay, so I've got a big referral business. So just that alone, if I didn't ever want to own a website, if I didn't ever want to do Facebook ads or drive any other leads to my real estate website, I wouldn't have to. I could just do referral business. That being said, I love to teach and train lead gen, so I keep that part active. All right, so I've got this big referral business, and I get Google leads, primarily Google organic from ranking on the search engines. Okay, so I said, what else do I want it to look like? Well, I want to have agents on my team that are skilled and super independent. I don't want them to want to be around me. I know that sounds funny, but I didn't want them to need me. I didn't want them to feel like they had to be around my, I didn't want them to look to me for anything else besides leads. Let's just put it that way. And prior to that, I was working so hard to be the influencer and the coach and the trainer and accountability and, parties and awards and celebrations and team meetings and one-on-ones. And it was just like a full-time job. It was a human resources director is what I felt like I was at the time. And so now I said, I want my agents to be super independent and I don't want them to need anything from me besides leads. So I changed my model and I brought on 2 agents. And at some point, I think I'd like to have 4. I've got 1 right now getting licensed. And I think 4, I'd be really happy with 4 great agents like the 2 I have now. That's fine. That's really fine that's good with me, because any more than that, now I've got to hire somebody to manage it and whatnot. So I've got 2 agents on the team and I said, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. I went out and recruited and said, I'm not going to provide admin. I'm not going to provide your tours, your photographers, your, any of that. I'm not going to coach you one-on-one in any kind of, way. I expect you to, I specifically hired people that are self-motivated and resourceful that can go get what they need to get done, but they don't generate leads on their own. So they, to run their own big business, they're not major lead generators. So my value to them is leads. Okay. So that's really it's so funny. I heard so many people say you can't build a real estate model around leads, but then expansion started at Keller Williams and they're all saying you can expand as long as you have leads. What do you expand with? Leads and admin, leads and admin, leads and admin. I'm like, all this time they said you can't build a team off leads, and now they're saying this is why you can expand. It's because you have leads. So it's kind of a little contradictory there. Anyway, so I said that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the yard. So I'll pay for the yard sign because I want my branding out there. But that's it, right? And really open arrangement of they can do their own branding. They can, they'll put Lori Ballen team on their signatures and whatnot. But they're marketing themselves out there too, and I have no problem with that because I wouldn't want to ever limit them if anything changed. So I'm okay with that. Now here's how the money works. So people would find this terrifying when you first hear it. It might just shock you. But if you actually sit down and do the math on what this looks like, it's surprisingly similar to the original model without all the obligations as far as the money at the end of the day, how things work out. So I can do a lot less business and keep as much money as I did then, basically, because of how the profits work. And I have no obligations. I don't have to go to the office. I don't have to pay for anything. I don't have to do tours. I don't have to get calls about problems. Literally never happens. If they have issues, they go talk to the broker because they're paying their cap. They're paying their share at the office. They've got access to the same things I do. And trust me, the broker's going to have a better answer for you than I am. So they can go there if there's any kind of challenges. The contracts are written in their name, not in my name. So I don't get any of the kudos, but I also don't get any of the liabilities or problems or challenges, which is how I want my business to be, because this is one of many, right? Not the only one. So I don't want to have headaches over there at all. So this for me was the way to do it. It meant sacrificing the big production numbers and the stages and the big interviews from different podcasters and publications. And I said, I don't care. I want peace. I want to live a happy life. And I'm going to remove the things that cause me so much pain. And I don't feel like that side is worth the other side. And back in the day, that meant a lot to me, the stages and the awards and the kudos. And it was validation that I was doing a good job. And now I just give me the validation of doing a good job is my people are happy. My clients are happy and I'm getting paid at the end of the day. And so is everybody else. That's all the signs I need. So anyway, I don't even look at the production numbers anymore. Like I used to, couldn't wait till they came out, and I wanted to see where we were positioned, and I was always fighting for the top spots, and I don't care anymore. So anyway, here's how it works. So we get a commission check. The referral agent is paid off the top. So let's just do some math. Let's say we have a $12,000 commission. Okay, $12,000 commission. Referral agent gave us the referral. So the referral agent's going to get 25%. So somebody from San Diego, California calls Lori Ballen team in Las Vegas, whether it's me, David, or Krista, and says, hey, I have a referral for you. We close the deal. It's a $12,000 transaction. They're going to get 25% of that. So what did I say? We're playing with 12,000. Okay, so whoops. Okay, so $3,000 is going to go to the agent on the other side. Makes sense, right? Okay, off the top. So we don't split and then do referrals. It's off the top. They get their $3,000. Now the remaining for us is $9,000. $9,000 is what's remaining. Okay. Now before we split now between me and that agent, we do our splits. Then we pay our brokerage fees and our franchise fees. So we do our split next. Okay. I only take 30%, not 50, 30. Because I'm not paying for admin. Most of my lead generation is organic, so I'm not paying for it. I have a 74% profitable real estate business. Now, there's a lot of other reasons why, because I have a marketing company, I have this, and this. So don't assume you can have the same model. But I'm just telling you, this is what I live and what mine looks like. So I can keep a lot more profit at the end of the day. Even though I work with no clients, I don't meet them. I don't talk to them. They don't know who I am. They're only working with the agent on the team. And, you know, I'll still make commission forever if they buy or sell, as long as that agent's on my team, essentially. If the agent leaves, yeah, they'll probably take the client with them. Brokerage, my contract says they can't, or that I'm still entitled to a commission, but they probably would if they left. And you know what? That's okay to me, with me. They're the ones creating the relationship. So I don't sweat that. Since I have my new model, both my agents have been with me for the couple of years since I started the model. So I'm not overly concerned about it. They're staying longer than the other ones did on the other split. Okay, now my agents, I get, what did I say? So we're at 9,000 and I'm going to keep 30%. So that's my portion. Okay. All I did was generate the lead. All I did was generate the lead. Did it cost me anything? Something, sure. You know, I send greeting cards. I pay for my greeting card subscription to generate referrals. I send brownies thanking people for referrals. I travel to conventions to keep my connections up. I paid a writer to write that blog that brought us in that listing. So that has a fee. I've got my hosting subscription for my WordPress website. I've got my IDX that I've got on my website. I've got my software, my marketing stack that I pay for, and whatever training and education I do. That's pretty much the extent. And I buy yard signs once or twice a year. That's the extent, not even once a year. And my own business cards and my own licenses and insurances. I don't have an office fee. I don't have office fees. I work from home. So very little expenses for me. I'm not doing much in the way of Facebook ads, Google AdWords. Most of my stuff is earned in from blogging. That's my specialty. I do some pay-per-click, but it's on the very small scale right now. So that's how that works. Now, out of my 2,700 that we just looked at, I would have my own fees to my office. Okay. Now they just made, what did they make out of that? Where'd my calculator go? Okay. So now I forgot, what numbers were we working with again? 9,000. Right. So after they pay me, their side is remaining is 6,300. So out of their 6,300 now, they go pay the brokerage their side, and I pay the brokerage my side. They pay their own taxes, I pay my own taxes. They pay their own license and insurance, I pay my own license and insurance. They pay their admin if they want to use an admin. And they generally, I know one of them uses like the in-house transaction coordinator and pays her out of the closing. Now, that might sound like, oh my gosh, he's only getting $6,000. But let me tell you, if you were to talk to my agents, they would do this. They want to do this forever and ever and ever. I just got off the phone with David not too long ago, and he was like, man, if you ever take this down or whatever, you're going to have to throw me out kicking and screaming because I'm never leaving. Like, he loves this relationship. So do I. because I get to do what I love, which is generate the leads, and he gets to do what he loves, which is work with the clients. And when a referral comes in, that person generated the lead, right? I'm just the middle person connecting this one and this one. And all I've done is hire an agent that represents what I would do. They're honest, they're ethical, they take good care of our clients, they care, they do great paperwork, they get good pictures, they work like I would work. So I'm proud to make that connection, and they are on my team exclusively, right? And then that agent sends the referral over, and I'm just that middle person going like this, and I get $2,500, $3,000. So it might sound small, but that's like massive to me. That's just like having an affiliate business. I might get $1,000 from that affiliate that month because of the software I generated. I might get $7,000 from that affiliate for what I generated. I might get $200 from this affiliate and $100 from this one and $20 from this one. And this is just kind of how it all works. It all comes in together and picking up whatever I picked up yesterday, $4,000 worth of real estate checks yesterday, because all I did was do this. Oh, I will do that all day long. I mean, that's like life by design right there. Okay. So let's just say $2,700, and I have 2 people on the team. And let's just say between the 2 of them, they do 60 houses. 60 times 2,700, just in the math we're doing, for example, only because I hate to ever talk real commissions, is $162,000. If I was 74% profitable times 0.74, I'm keeping $119,880, and out of that, I would pay my brokerage. Oh no, was that after brokerage? I think we did the math before that. I'd pay the brokerage $20,000, and I'm making $100,000, right? And then I got to pay the IRS. And I am paying the IRS. I got to pay the IRS out of that, right? So it could be 6 figures, or maybe those 2 agents that year are only going to do 40, and it doesn't hit 6 figures. That's still fine with me. And I'm not being complacent when it comes to making money. I'm going to make money from all these income streams, and this is just one of the legs. If that was my only income, I would be obsessed with closing at least 100 deals. At least 100. I'd probably have, I had an agent on my team back in the day that was closing 50 on his own. So I'd probably be super aggressive about finding at least one producer that was doing that kind of business. And it would be my obligation then to make sure I had enough leads, right, for that to happen. And they bring in their own sphere of influence as well. But our splits don't change. If David goes out and he's making friends and networking and he brings in somebody, then our commissions don't change. He gets 70, I get 30. If my daughter, who this just happened, buys a house through my team and she works with David gets 70%, I get 30%. There's no change in anything. It's so clean. The only thing that changes is the referral fee off the top if it's a referral. And they're not all referrals, of course. We do business from Google and that kind of thing also. So I hope that makes sense. This is the first time I've actually come on and explained what this model looks like today. And I would say in a perfect world, I would like to have 3 agents doing 100 units. I think that's totally doable. One of the agents on my team she doesn't have to make that money. She likes it more as a side thing, or I don't know how she explains it, but so she wouldn't want to do 40 deals in a year. She doesn't want to work that. She doesn't want to be doing that all the time. And even David he's got a great life. He's got a life by design. He's loving life. He's cruising all the time. He's going to, all concerts and traveling with bands and doing things like that. And he wants to be busy when he's here, but he wants that freedom too. So it's a perfect match because they don't have to grind to do, 50 deals if they don't want to. And like I said, I've got a 3rd one now being licensed. So I'd like to do 100 units. I've done 100 before, but it took a lot more agents. So I'd like to do it on this model, 100 homes, and it'd be nice to do it with 3 agents.